This video has been a long time coming. I've wanted to make a BBR map tier list for a while, just never got around to it, but it's finally here. I want to start off by saying hats off to the map designer in BBR, level designer. I think most, if not all, the maps are decent in some way, but some of them are just not to my taste. So a lot of this is going to be a subjective opinion, obviously, because it is my own personal map tier list. You might disagree, and that's completely fine. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to go and make your own map tier list and share it. That would be great. But without further ado, let's get stuck right into this. So I'm going in alphabetical order here. So starting off with Azagor. Now, one thing I particularly hate about this map is the orange hue. I'm never a fan of maps that have like a really strong orange hue or tint to it. I don't know, it just not pleasant to my eyes. I prefer like the bright blue than like the orange tint / tinge. Albeit Azagor does have good flanking opportunities on either side of the map, specifically on the, I guess, the water side with like the cliffs. You can sneak down that way and then build up some sandbags to get up on top and get some really cool flanks off that way. It is a lot of fun. Oil pumping station is like the flag in the middle. Kind of meh to fight at because of how open it gets when people start blowing up the main building. I think the map would be way better if that specific building wouldn't be able to be destroyed all the way. Maybe like have certain walls be just indestructible, sorry. So for that reason, I think I would probably put Azagor maybe at B. I think that's where it would belong. Moving on to Basra. I enjoyed the map more before the rework. Now you just, I don't know, it feels a lot weirder. You don't get to fight at the broken down ship carrier anymore. The map is crazy big for seemingly like not much to gain. Granted, before it was maybe a little bit too linear. It could have done with a few flags like added on the sides maybe or something. But then again, there wasn't much there. So I think a blend maybe of the rework now and the old Basra would have been the way to go, adding some just POIs to the right and left of the map on the old Basra version instead of redoing the whole map. I think would have done a little bit better. And from what I've seen, most players aren't a fan of the new Basra rework. They much preferred the old one. It has a nice variety of capture points now, but again, the big capture point or the big POI in this map was the broken down ship carrier. Now you don't really have a reason to go there all that much, except to get from like Delta to I think it's Bravo. So for this reason, I think I would put Basra like in C tier. It was way better before. I had more fun on it. Now I think it just lost its uniqueness. Moving on to construction. Whew. I have a love-hate relationship with this map. I somewhat enjoy fighting on the A flag when it's on infantry conquest, I believe. You can get some really good combat opportunities there. B, if you fortify it really well, it can be pretty funny playing like a tower defense game and building up a bunch of reinforcements on the top of Bravo on domination. People can get really frustrated with that, and it's kind of funny. But overall, like domination on this map can just go to hell. It's not fun for me to fight on alpha. You get some good fights here and there, but overall, it's just running around and explosive spam galore. And if you're not getting killed by explosives, you're getting killed by snipers that are camping in the uncaps. Every layout is too small for the player count, in my opinion. I think maybe 32v32 would be a good amount of players for the 128 player domination layout. Otherwise, it's just too small for my personal taste. You just can't get any good flanking opportunities because there's so many players all over. Yeah, and as I said, I have the most fun holding a single objective. So for that reason, I would put this on C. Also, the map doesn't differ much depending on what game mode you're playing on it. So it feels very samey no matter the game mode. District. One of, if not my favorite map in BBR. Obviously, this map got a rework. It's a lot different from when it was back when BBR was like in beta and all that stuff. Way better now. District, I love it. Some players can find the rain distracting, and I can understand having all those little particles in your screen at any given time can be distracting, but I find it adds to the whole atmosphere of the map. There's great traversal throughout the whole map. You can get some good flanking opportunities, close enough points to not have to run forever, but far enough away to have separate, distinct fights. I love this map on every game mode. Rush, Domination, Conquest, that are all absolutely fantastic. This map is an S tier for me. District is a 100% vote every time it appears in the voting part of a match at the end. For me, it's just, I love this map so much. It's so fun to play on. You get like the underground sewer tunnels on Charlie, and then you get the warehouse type place on Alpha. Yeah, Alpha. Then you have D, which is like some type of server farm or whatever. And yeah, it's just a fantastic map. Moving on to Dusty Dew. Oh, sweet old Dusty Dew. I really don't know what to do about this map. I really want to like it, but the freaking thing is just so spread out. Even on Domination, like there's so much unused space all over the place. It is just massive for the sake of being massive. It is a sniper fest, so going from flag to flag can be really frustrating, especially considering that snipers can just sit out of bounds in their uncaps and build a fortress. And if your snipers aren't good, or if you're not very good at sniping, they can just annoy you the whole round. So that is something that annoys me, and they still have line of sight on some objectives. You can have some good flanking opportunities, which is, I think, the one saving grace of this map, and some of the flags are fun to fight on. Domination, I don't like this map at all. Conquest is the way to go for me on this map. It adds 5 flags instead of 3, so it cuts up the running part a little bit. But yeah, overall it's far too large in my opinion, especially like width, though there's just like nothing to do there. You could literally put a spawn beacon like 500 meters from a flag, and it's just, I don't know. It seems quite large for no reason. So for that, I mean, it did get reworked, and I don't think it's particularly better than it was before. Maybe slightly, but I think I would probably put this in C tier. Yeah, I think I would put it in C tier. Eduardovo. This is just like a middle-of-the-road map for me. It's pretty fun. It can feel pretty crowded due to the close proximity of a lot of the objectives, especially on Domination. I really enjoy Conquest on this map, albeit it is quite big, but again, that's the point of Conquest. You want to use vehicles to get from flag to flag, lots of objectives to fight at, decent cover all over. Some objectives, the gimme flags are quite far from all the other ones, but that does give you opportunities for really good flanks and distracting the enemy by getting those gimme flags. And it can be fun to fight in the city part of this map, like where the, well, yeah, in the city part, and then you have like the swamps, I guess, with the church. So there's a lot of diversity in terms of flags and POIs to fight at. So I think I would put this at B tier. I don't vote for it every time I see it, but having a little bit of Eduardovo in the rotation every now and then is fun. Frugis. Again, another map that I'm torn on. I really want to like it. It reminds me of like old school Battlefield maps like Amiens on Battlefield 1 or stuff like that. So I really do want to like it, but there's so many freaking angles to look for at any given time. It is a little bit better since they added shutters to a lot of the windows, but a while back, like, it was just a shit show. You couldn't run in a direction without getting shot at. You can get on all the roofs in this map, which, again, if you hear somebody running down below you, you are 100% going to shoot at them, and they don't have much recourse if they don't react fast enough. Some people really enjoy it, and I can see the appeal. I've had some decent times on this map, but mostly on the largest layout where there's more breathing room. In Domination, I think it's just too crowded, and there's having all the buildings blow up also, I think takes away from the map, and especially blowing up staircases where people just camp on the top floors, and it's very difficult to get them out of there. The underground part of this map is like a maze. I like the idea of having tunnels to get to different objectives without getting your tank kicked in, but that's pretty much it. I feel like the tunnels are slightly confusing, even if I've played the map, like, I don't know how many times at this point. I would unfortunately put Frugis into D. It needs some love for me. Moving on to Isle. I really enjoy this map on domination, albeit it's 4 flags, and I don't know why maps have even flag numbers. It can sometimes just turn into a stalemate where each team keeps 2 flags and the game just goes on for too long. So I think this map could gain having another flag. You can get to all the objectives relatively quickly. It's not that far apart for the flags. You can have great fights on all of them with good movement opportunities to escape enemies, specifically on like Charlie. A lot of fun to fight on Charlie. Conquest on this map is far too spread out. Like there's just a ton of the map that's just unused for some reason. So I think it could use a little bit of reduction in terms of distance between the flags. And I have a soft spot for snow maps, you know, being Canadian and everything. So I would put this map in the A tier. Like it is a solid freaking map. Albeit on Charlie, it can be annoying if you're playing infantry conquest, having snipers camp on there. But they're not generally not participating much in the match except like trying to get kills on players. But more often than not, you're like running around. So unless there's a really good sniper up there, like able to get headshots on players when they're running, they're not too much of a nuisance. And you can pretty easily, if you have a decent chopper pilot, just get rid of them altogether. Kodiak. This map is fantastic. Like probably one of my favorite maps they've added in the recent updates. There's so many different areas to fight in. Like each flag really feels distinct from one another. So you have like the underground bunker area. You have the city, the 2 flags in the city. You have one that's close to the lighthouse. You have one that's on a church. You have on Conquest, you have one that's in like a, I don't know, some type of industrial facility, I guess, with the chopper pad on top. Great fun fighting on this map. I love the aesthetic. I love the colors of this map. It is a beautiful looking map in my opinion. Yeah, with beautiful lighting and ambiance. There's some nice sniping opportunities, but they're not a pain in the ass on every single objective if there are snipers on the map, so that's good. And you have a combination of like all the different type of engagement styles you can get in, so CQB, mid, long, and yeah, a lot of POIs that just are a ton of fun to fight at, and just the color palette in this map is just great. So I would put this map also in S tier. I think I prefer District a little bit more, but man, I can rock some Kodiak all the time. Lonovo, similar to gripe to the one I have with Frugis, there's so many windows and angles to check for at any given moment. Fun on this map is highly dependent on how the enemy team is playing. So again, the whole thing of being able to blow up staircases and just completely blocking off the whole top floor of a building just kind of annoys me, because they can build reinforcements up there and they can just hold that building and be a nuisance. So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. A few of the flag cap areas are just running up and downstairs in buildings until you find the one guy that's preventing you from capping. So again, something else that can be a little bit annoying on Lonovo. Some of the most fun I've had in nighttime maps though. So there's not a whole lot of people that vote for nighttime maps or a lot of servers that run nighttime maps, but Lonovo did give me some cool experiences playing nighttime. I think I prefer this map on Rush than any other game mode, I'd have to say. So I think I would put this one maybe at C. I like it better than Frugis, honestly, but not a whole lot more. Multu Islands. Great map that doesn't get played enough, in my opinion. I just like the overall flow of this map. You have a lot of flags in a like somewhat bunched up region, and you have some flags that are a little bit further away. So for people that want to not be in the whole thick of it all the time, they can go to like A, D, and then for people that want to really, you know, always be in combat, you can fight at B, E, and C, I want to say, on domination. Yeah, I think this map, I don't think people appreciate it enough. I don't think it gets played enough. It can be a pain in the ass on Rush on the first sector where it's just like two points on the building, like 2 objectives on the building where there's very little opportunity to breathe. But I think this map is a solid map. So I think I would put it at A as well. Namak. Okay. This map could be great if it wasn't so freaking claustrophobic. So the layout for 64 v 64, in my opinion, is far too small. It would be better suited for 32 v 32. You could get some way more tactical fights going on there, rather than just playing dodge the explosive. The map itself looks freaking awesome. I love the aesthetic. I love the color palette of this map, but the layouts are just Yeah, it could be a little bit wider, allowing for more flanking opportunities. Again, the even number of flags just doesn't do it for me. It just makes matches more often than not last longer than they need to. And I've had some insane freaking matches on this map, but most of the time I question my sanity when playing the map. So for that reason, I think I'm going to put it at the... I don't... Honestly, I like it, but I have to put it on D tier because I think it does need some love. Like, there needs to be more flanking routes, and there needs to be a rework of, like, the map size versus the player count. I don't know. But yeah, I think I would put it at D tier, even though sometimes I have really good matches. Most of the time, like, oh, have to play Namak again, and everybody votes for it all the freaking time. So yeah, I think that's why I would put it on D. Oil Dunes. This map is just a wasteland of misery. I'm kidding. It's overall a pretty meh map. Uncaps and out of bounds areas are just too close to flags, and it kind of annoys me that snipers can just sit there and barely be touched, yet have really good LOS on flags. The 5 flag version is decent enough, and I do have some fun moments on this map, but they're few and far between. Like, either time that you're fighting on Charlie, it's just like explosives going off in every direction. I think I have the most fun fighting on B on this map. So 1 flag out of 3 or 5 is like, ugh. So I think I would... It's better than it used to be, but I think it could use a little bit more. Like, it just feels very boring to me. This map is like just rubble and fucking foxholes. So I think I'd have to put it in D. Like, it needs some love. Most of the time I play this map, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take a DMR and, like, you know, try and hold 1 flag rather than run around like a headless chicken. Outskirts, again, one of the new maps, just freaking fantastic. I love this map. It's not my favorite, but it is a very solid entry in Battlebit. Multiple different POIs to fight at with different engagement types. So CQB on C and around, medium to long on A, D, and E. The one thing I don't like about this map is how freaking dark it is. It's so hard to spot players on this map. Like, if they're in shrubbery or something, or it's just so freaking dark. I think if it wasn't for like the really dark sky, it would be much more enjoyable. But I have a lot of fun on this map. It's just like I find myself squinting a lot, trying to see if there's like a black spot moving amongst other very dark spots. So I think I would put this map in A. Kodiak is definitely a lot better because it's clearer and easier to see. But yeah, Outskirts is a very good map as well. River. Another one of the situations where this map doesn't get played nearly enough for some reason. It is a really, really decent, solid map. I would probably adjust the cap areas slightly for certain flags because they're maybe a little bit too narrow. I don't like having a flag cap area where it's just like whole flag cap areas out in the open. You're just asking to get your freaking headshot off, albeit you can build cover, but that's kind of a dead giveaway as to where you are. You can generally traverse the map while being in some cover the whole time. Fighting in the container area and the B flag, so the hotel type building, can be a ton of fun, especially if you're skilled at movement and evading. You can go up the towers in that building, that hotel type building, different ways. You can jump out windows and then jump out to the bottom floor and then just move through floors very quickly, and there's a lot of fun to be had on this map. It is a solid map. You can still get some pretty decent sniping opportunities like on the cranes and all that, but you're still not 100% protected from everything. So yeah, this is a pretty good map. I think I would put it at I think I would put it at A, honestly. Yeah, I think I would put River at A. It is a very, very enjoyable BBR map for me. Oh, you know what? No, it has the freaking orange hue that I hate. I would put it at B, just because it has that orange hue. Yeah, I think that's it. Salhan. Another map that doesn't get played enough. Unless you play Rush a lot, this map is a Rush. Everybody plays Rush on this map all the time. It's a fun urban map to fight in, not incredibly large, but a decent size. I mostly enjoy fighting on the outskirts of the map. When there are too many players for the map size, fighting in the city can just be a freaking frustrating experience. People are just blowing up walls. You don't have any cover to get to. There's just grenades going off all over the place. When you're playing Conquest, it's like you got tanks in like these very narrow streets and APCs. Much like River, if you can move well throughout the map, you can get some good surprise kills and move before enemies find you. But when staircases start getting destroyed to the top floors of buildings, it can get quite frustrating. So I think I'll put this map also at B. You can have a lot of fun on Salhan, but yeah. You know what? I think I would put it at A. I'm so... You know what, A, I really like playing on Salhan. Like, I'll vote for that over River and Azagor. Depends on how I'm feeling, honestly. But yeah, I think I'll put it at A. Sandy Sunset. I really like Sandy Sunset, but it just gets played too much for my taste. Like, every time Sandy's in the rotation, it has the same problem as Namak. Everybody votes for it. I get it. Like, you have all these close quarter engagements. It's just a freaking shit show most of the time. A lot of people like that. Not so much for me. I like playing a little bit more tactical. You can get some really good flanks off, even on domination. Even though like the map is super freaking narrow, you can get some really good flanks off. I think it could do with being slightly wider on the sides, allowing people to actually go kill the snipers that are out of bounds instead of having them on top of a cliff that allow them to be out of bounds. Playing in the middle in this map is just pain and suffering. Just plain pain and suffering. There's so many windows and angles to look for. It's an absolute slaughter fest. You're just getting shot by rockets, by snipers on buildings, by snipers in out of bounds. You have to dodge grenades and explosives, and it's just a pain. My favorite spots to fight in are like D and A, so like the extremities of the map. And I'm trying to flank and get to those at any given time. And this map is way more enjoyable on Conquest, albeit some of the flags are quite far apart, but then again, it's Conquest, usually have access to vehicles, so I think I would put this at B as well. Tensatown. Now I know Tensatown gets a lot of hate, mostly due to the fact that it gets played, again, pretty much every time it gets voted for in rotation, but it is a fantastic map. Like, CQB combat through and through with a limited amount of windows to look out for, unlike Frugis or Sandy. Like the buildings aren't very high, so you have like a few windows to look for. Yeah, it can get kind of repetitive because most of the areas where you're fighting are kind of samey. But I absolutely love this map. Being able to traverse like jump on top of the planters, then jump on top of the bushes, then jump on top of a roof to outplay your enemies is just like peak BBR to me. C is a shit show on this map. I never fight on C. I like never go there. There's just too much shit happening, and I don't like it. Mostly focus on A, B, and D on domination, and on all the other flags on conquest. C is like a no-go for me. It's just not fun. It's fun to traverse, as I said, with multiple ways to get where you're going by doing some parkour. And I hate the fact that the US side gets a silo-type structure that is out of bounds, on which snipers can build a fortress and just sit on. It is just stupid. If they just added that area into the playable area for both sides, I think it would give this map, I think I would put this map in S tier, but for those reasons, I'd have to put it in A. Moving on to Valleys. So this map has the opposite problem of Sandy on Dom. It is so freaking wide, like Dusty. There's just so much space, like, for snipers, basically. You can't really flank all that great on like the very tips of the valley because there's not a whole lot of trees to cover you, so you're just easy pickings for snipers that are on the opposite side. And yeah, it's hard to go and kill snipers that are up on those hills. Granted, it probably should be, but on domination, I feel like the map could do with being slightly more narrow. Conquest, I really enjoy this map. You don't get the pain points of having so many like snipers all over the place because there's a lot of vehicles they have to look out for, and choppers can easily go and dispatch them. So a little bit more enjoyable on Conquest. The flags and POIs themselves are fun to fight at. You can do some really good traversal on most of them. This map on domination, 4-flag layout is fun as hell, except the fact that there's 4 freaking flags. And a lot of the times one team gets spawn camped because of an all-cap situation, making it very boring because you're like just it's like shooting fish in a barrel at that point. But yeah, I think Valley is a solid map, and I think I would put it probably at B. It could use a little bit of love in terms of stuff or POIs where it's really wide open on the Valley part. But like where it's more linear, it is a lot of fun. Wacky, the controversial Sun. I actually enjoy Wacky. Yep, even when I'm getting my tank kicked in on the bridges, but connecting B to C to D. It's just, I don't know, there's something about this map that just tickles my fancy. There's good sniping opportunities without being able to just sit and base the whole game, as there are too many LOS issues with like trees and buildings and stuff like that. There's great aquatic flanking routes with motorized dolphins, as community member James likes to call them, commonly known as jet skis or like wave runners, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. You can call them whatever you want on Conquest. So yeah, you can get some really good flanking opportunities there with boats and jet skis. Certain flag layouts are better than others, and by that I mostly mean like some of the map layouts. I don't like the map layout that the Domination where it has like A, B, C, D, and E. I really enjoy having the F flag on like the outskirts of the map where there's like that industrial type zone with like sandbags all over the place. I think it really adds to the overall flow of the map. Without that, it just feels like that whole section could just be cordoned off and just not accessible, because then it's just pointless to go that way unless you're flanking. But even then, you could flank down the waterway and like the canal, I guess. And sometimes it can be frustrating when there's too many players in a small area, so it can result in a lot of explosive spam, which is where like people hate usually B, C, and D. But I think like having that whole bridge push is just a lot of fun, and it makes for really unique gameplay experiences. I think I would put Wacky at B. And they're in no particular order here, so I don't think necessarily like Azagor is better than Wacky. They're just like all in B tier for me. Wait. Would I vote for Wacky over Valley and Azagor? You know what? I think I'm going to put Wacky in A tier. I love the bridges on this map. It's so much fun to fight at. Wine Paradise. Fuck this map on Domination. I don't know why people vote for it. It is an absolute clusterfuck. It is just not fun. Unless you're playing on the roof, it's just... it's just dodging C4 explosives and AP mines, pretty much. By the end, this map just looks like a complete skeleton. There's no walls left anywhere. There's no roof. There's no cover. You're just trying to cap flags and getting shot at because there's nowhere to hide. Conquest on Wine Paradise is the way to go. It is a very enjoyable Conquest experience. The map looks great and has a great vibe to it with its autumn-like aesthetic. There's plenty of ways to approach this map, whether it be CQB, medium range, or long range engagements, and I'm speaking specifically on Conquest. Again, Domination, I don't like this map on Domination. It's just not fun for me. I absolutely loathe this map on Domination. I would never vote for it. Plenty of flanking routes on Conquest. There's a lot of different POIs. There's plenty of sniping opportunities. You can play this map pretty much any way you want. There's a little bit of something for everybody on Conquest. It is good. But on Domination, why is it so narrow? Why is it so fucking small for how many players there are? I have no clue. So trying to like put these maps on a tier list is difficult because they change a lot depending on what game mode's being played on them. I really like playing Conquest on this map. I hate Domination, so I think I'm gonna have to put it on C tier. I don't think like the map itself doesn't need love. The layout or the player count does. If Domination 4 flags, again 4 fucking flags, why not just have 3 or 5 on 128? If it was 32v32, 3 flags on Domination, I would be happy with that. Even though it's narrow, there would be enough breathing room so you're not just getting shot from every angle at any given time. So yeah, I think I would leave it C. And last but certainly not least, good old Zalfibay. A gorgeous looking map, nice and bright. You feel like you're in a nice South American country on vacation on the beach with palm trees. It's great. I don't know why, but one side gets absolutely dominated pretty much every time I play this map on Domination. I know the game mode's called Domination, that's the whole point, but yeah, one of the sides just gets their freaking taint kicked in every single time. I don't know why it's that side, but basically the side that has E flag. They just lose every time. I enjoy this map both on Conquest and Domination. Again, albeit on Domination, a lot of flag areas you fight in are very samey, so B and D are pretty much identical. They could be interchanged and nobody would notice. A being kind of similar as well, but at least you have like the round part in the middle of A, and then C is pretty unique as well as E. It's more like a parking garage type situation you got going on there. I think it could do with maybe the uncaps being a little bit further away from the flags on Domination, but Conquest, I think this is a very enjoyable experience. The flags are just far enough apart where you're not getting like combat in between flags. Every flag seems like a distinct combat area. I think I would put Zalfie on A tier. It does get played a lot, which is kind of starting to like take its toll on me, but very, very fun to play. And yeah, Infantry Conquest is probably one of the weak points of this map. It has like 3 flags, and there's just like a whole section where there's just basically just desert and rocks. Kind of lame. And the islands being included on Conquest is a lot of fun. You can snipe to and from them, and you can get some good aquatic action as well with the boats. So yeah, I think we got our tier list here. I think that's a good looking tier list. And some of you might not agree with it, but again, that's my tier list. It is subjective. I'll leave a link in the description down below for the template if you want to go and make your own tier list. And I'm sure I'm going to have to remake it soon because I think they're working on 1 or 2 maps. And it is to note that I didn't include old maps. So you have like Old Oil Dunes, Old Namak, Old District, just to name a few off the top of my head. Maybe at some point they'll include Old Basra as well. But yeah, I didn't include those because they don't really get played all that much. You have to be in a community server that has them active, which is they are few and far between. But yeah, that is a long ass video, and I'm gonna stop right now. But hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.